We are the Brobsons, Kevin and Lauren, from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and the proud parents of Claire, Will, and Gabe. Our oldest daughter is Claire, and she is a vibrant, exciting young girl. She loves the Disney Channel, and she loves animals. My favorite birthday party she had was the one that she asked all of her friends to bring donations to an animal shelter instead of presents.
And then there's Will. He's got a lot of energy, boundless energy. He's a sword master from way back. He can turn anything into a sword. Loves to play baseball, loves to play soccer.
He's a good big brother.
And then there's Gabe, the goober.
When he was an infant, he got the nickname Good Time Charlie because he was such a good baby, and he was always smiling and always laughing. And he has lived up to his nickname ever since.
If you're having a bad day, you need a dose of goober. You just need a dose of Gabe. It was December 2007. For weeks, Claire had been complaining about different aches and pains in her wrist, in her fingers, joints here and there.
Her fatigue had gotten progressively worse. The day before, I had actually taken her to see the Nutcracker, and she, very unlike herself, fell asleep in the middle of the ballet. And she was just complaining, I'm just so tired, I'm just so tired.
Sort of got to the point where I just said to Lauren, you might as well take her and have her checked out, make sure nothing's wrong. And so I stayed with the boys, and Lauren drove Claire to the emergency room.
We were in the emergency room for several hours. We did the second blood test, and that's when we suddenly were talking to an oncologist.
Our blood counts were zero across the board. Blood counts were absolutely zero across the board. We'd find out within 48 hours of that she had acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL.
I just can't explain what it's like as a parent, to have what we thought was a normal, healthy, regular child who just seemed to be having some off days, to suddenly turn around and find out that she had something that was truly life-threatening. And the next thing we knew, we were doing the blood transfusions and the plasma.
I think the thing that shocked for us was I had sent her in October for a full blood work, and everything came back normal. So between October and December.
Claire, she had progressed so far at that point that even her first bone marrow test, which is the test that they use to diagnose the children, her bone marrow was so compact and so just, I guess you could describe it as being eaten away, that they couldn't even get a good sample the first time. So we had to not do it once, but we had to go through the bone marrow test twice, which was probably one of the most horrible experiences that we as parents had.
So now you know what it is. So then you have to tell your daughter, which is, there are hard things you have to do in your life. Sitting on your kid's hospital bed and telling them they have cancer. That's the hardest thing in the world to do. Claire's like, well, what's going on? Well, Claire, you have cancer. And Claire immediately goes, am I gonna lose my hair? That was Claire's reaction.
Sort of what's physically happening is happening quickly, and it's kind of like getting caught in a current, and you're going down for the ride on the whitewater. Your brain is desperately trying to catch up.
You just gotta go, like Lauren said. You just gotta go. You now know who the enemy is. You've met the enemy on the battlefield, and it's now time to destroy the enemy. And that's pretty much what you have to do. Will was good. He was 4 or 5, and I think even for him it was a lot to take in.
Gabe was 4 months old when Claire was diagnosed, and so we did what we could. Your life does not come to a grinding halt because of an illness. You figure out how to keep life going.
If anything, it speeds up. One of the first things that Dr. Freiberg told us after Claire was diagnosed was, you don't have to, I don't know what your situation is on healthcare or insurance or things like that, but in Penn State Hershey Children's Hospital, there's the Four Diamonds Fund, which basically is an incredible resource to make sure that all a parent has to do is to take care of their child. Every child that is diagnosed and treated at Hershey Medical Center receives treatment, regardless of whether they can pay for it or not.
There's the Four Diamonds concept, but then there's the Thon concept.
We didn't really know that much about Thon. The Penn State Dance Marathon was something that Dr. Freiberg and the staff at the medical center really encouraged us to do, and that would have been February of 2008, and Claire was diagnosed in December.
Dr. Freiberg was like, at the very least, you get away for a weekend, you're out of your house, you're with people who can take care of you.
And the kids will have a good time.
And the kids will have, and that's what he said, the kids will have a good time.
It was something like you'd never seen before, to see what's going on in the Bryce Jordan Center and to see all those people.
Well, and I think that's when we realized we weren't alone.
I cannot explain to people what it's like. Until you walk into the Bryce Jordan Center and you see this sea of color waving up and down to the beat of just an amazing sound just coming through there with screams of joy and music and color and lights and just absolute craziness of the best kind. That's what Thon is.
She was exhausted, but we were definitely lifted up by the whole experience. All it took was coming down that stairwell for the first time and walking out on the floor and to feel that energy. It's indescribable. Like for a family, it was like a giant hug. Our first Thon was in 2008, but our first Thon with Atlas was 2009.
Our Thon experience in 2008, as intense as it was, just completely exploded. And it was as if you thought Thon couldn't get any bigger. When you got paired with a group, Thon got bigger. It makes you forget. It just makes you forget that your family is going through a very difficult time.
As much as we've appreciated the support of Atlas as parents, the one thing that I've appreciated the most is the support of our kids. Claire has big sisters that she wouldn't have otherwise, and big brothers, and she relies on them. Atlas was not just great for Claire. Atlas was a real safety net for Will, I think, too. Because, he was young and he didn't necessarily show us on a daily basis that he knew what was going on, but he knew what was going on. Atlas is like part of Will's DNA practically now. And for Gabe, he doesn't know what life is like without Atlas, because Atlas has been part of our family since he's been part of our family. What does Atlas mean to you? What do you think of when you think of
Atlas loves me.
Atlas loves me.
Do you love us?
Yes.
Thon 2010, Claire took her last chemotherapy at Thon.
It's becoming more and more of a distant memory for her.
When she sees Atlas or goes to Thon, she doesn't think about what she's been through. She doesn't think about how difficult it was for her, or the cancer that she has. She thinks about Atlas, and she thinks about Thon. And those are the memories that she has, that she's held on to. And for any child that has gone through that, that's a blessing.
It's not just Thon weekend that Atlas is paired with their families. Atlas is part of our family all year round. is just as important now as it was when Claire was so sick, because this really has become part of our family's existence.
Any Atlas kid that wants to come down and hang out, Brobsons are here.